Welcome to today's CRM Magazine web event, brought to you by Transera, a BroadSoft company. I'm David Myron, Editorial Director of CRM Magazine, and I'll be the moderator for today's broadcast. Our presentation today is titled Transform Salesforce into your complete contact center solution. Before we start, allow me to explain how you can participate in this live broadcast. At the end of the event, there will be a question and answer session. If you have a question during the presentation, just type it into the question box provided and click on the Submit button. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible, but if your question has not been answered during the show, you'll receive an email response to it within a few days. Plus, if you'd like a copy of the presentation, you can download a PDF from the resource icon at the bottom of the console once the event is archived. Now to introduce our speakers for today's event. Steve Case is the Vice President of Product Marketing and Alliances at Transera. Maurice Lopes is the Salesforce Call Center Operations Manager at Slimware Utilities, an IAC company. And Randall Parker is a Sales Engineer at Transera. To review the speakers' bios, please click on the arrow under the speakers' photos. So, without further ado, let me pass the event over to Steve Case, Vice President of Marketing and Alliances at Transera. Welcome to the broadcast, Steve.
Thank you, David, and thanks everyone for joining today. Got really very interesting, hopefully, session for you guys today. We're going to talk about some of the changes in the contact center industry and the trends and what we here at Transera and BroadSoft are doing about helping to address those for customers. And then we've graciously joined by Maurice from Slimware, one of our customers, who's going to talk about how his company has used the solution in order to help transform their business and achieve really great success with it. And then we'll get to show you some of that. So Randy's going to show you the product, give you a taste of it, some of the major capabilities, and then we'll have time for question and answers at the end. So if you look at the contact center market today, there's a number of challenges facing. A lot of folks still have different stovepipes that do different things inside the contact center. So CRM is mainstay for customer data, and it's where your agents spend most of the time interacting with customers, or your sales folks do as well. The contact routing capabilities are often in a separate systems. Maybe there's some light integration, and maybe there's no integration between the two of them. There's a lot of aspects of contact routing that are part of that, and then the call recording is another component which is used in a lot of contact centers, usually also kind of a separate siloed thing. And if you look at those solutions, like I said, typically stovepipes, proprietary, often they're hardware-based, and it makes it harder to manage your everyday operations, harder to measure agent performance and contact center performance, as well as from a integration point of view. If you are trying to integrate them, it often has a large IT budget associated with getting these things to work together and keeping them working together across system upgrades and whatnot. So these silos do make it problematic for folks to manage their operations, and as the world moves from just voice interactions with customers to omnichannel, including email and chat, social channels, it becomes even more complicated. So what we're going to talk about today is how we address some of these challenges. Next generation contact center built upon solutions which bring these various elements together. Things are more open-based. Oftentimes cloud-based solutions do this, but open APIs allow you to interact, and a lot of IP-based capabilities, which when you bring them together, allow you to build a next-generation contact center. So the deeper dive into this is looking at the next generation contact center. What we have is combined those major elements that I talked about, including combining not just CRM and ACD, but the contact routing consists of an ACD where you're actually routing the calls to agents and monitoring and managing them, an IVR in the front end which helps you direct where the call should be routed to, which agent group, and also the recording piece that allows you to do quality management after the call, also allows you to have a full-time record of why somebody was calling in and be able to play back perhaps that in the future if there's some question about what was discussed. So we pull those things together. We pull that together with all the omni-channel capabilities I discussed on the previous slide. And furthermore, look at pulling those things together with your CRM data, which is what we're here to talk about today. Okay. So when we do all this, we help you to streamline your operations and provide your customers with an overall better user experience, improve first call resolution and customer satisfaction. And that's really, at the end of the day, why your contact center operations is happening in the first place. So we do that here at Transera by pulling together a solution which we have and unifying that with the Salesforce application. And those capabilities together allow you to have a next-gen contact center, which is really like a CRM enabled, an ACD-enabled CRM, I should say, or a contact center-enabled CRM. You've got your full contact center within the CRM application, and gives you all the feature functionality that you need, allows you to seamlessly merge data from the CRM into the routing experience and the agent experience and the administrative experience of your users. So one of the things that we do a little differently, we're not the only ones who do work trying to integrate Salesforce with a contact center solution, but we take it much further than others. And so the first level of integration is integrating the agent experience, and that is part of our solution. So when a call comes in, we're collecting all the context information around the caller, and we're presenting the right screen to the agent so that saves them time. We're allowing them to click the call after doing outbound calls, and generally providing with a single user interface that's built into Salesforce that makes them much more efficient and reduces training and things like this. But beyond that, we also have integrated the entire administration capabilities and management capabilities inside of Salesforce. So you now use Salesforce to create users that are going to be using the ACD or going to have their calls recorded. You create a user once. It's a Salesforce user. You want to make him an agent. You assign an agent permission to him. You want to make him a supervisor. You assign a supervisor permission to him. You want that user to view reports. They do that inside Salesforce. If you're an administrator and you're setting up the call flows that are going to be used to help route the call, you do that within Salesforce. The tool is all embedded there. All the supervisory monitoring capabilities are embedded there, as well as the call recording capabilities. So what we've done is combined everything into Salesforce. So Salesforce is your call center, your contact center, your complete contact center, and you can see how that helps to make it much easier for everybody in the organization to use. They're using a familiar interface that they use every day for interacting with customers. So you don't have to train up separate people to manage your contact center software versus managing your Salesforce software. You've got better visibility into what's going on in your business because now you've got your data about what happened with the customer and the customer call in the CRM combined with how that contact was handled with the details of the call length of that and the call recording of that transaction, all combined together into one record. And furthermore, you can use that data which you collected to make intelligent decisions on how to handle calls when they come in. So we do things like looking at the customer value to decide which agent should handle that call. We can look at what we think that agent is calling about, that caller is calling about, and route them to the best agent to handle that type of call. And finally, we have the true omnichannel capabilities by leveraging the innate capabilities in Salesforce to handle the email, chat, and social channels with the capabilities we bring to the table in terms of voice to make it a true omnichannel contact center. So if you look at our customers who are using this and what they see as the kind of some of the key values they get from using this application, so the unified sign-on administration stuff that I talked about earlier, so you don't have to manage all these different systems, and that's true for all the users of that. On the routing side, just a couple examples I described on the previous slide about how we can use CRM data to make routing decisions. So if you look at what some of our customers are doing, they'll do things like take the new customers or new prospects and route them to one set of agents, route existing customers to another set of agents. It's one of the specific examples. Certainly routing the premier callers to your best agents and routing the other callers to other agents is another application. And Maurice will talk to you about a bit later how Slimware does that and how they figure out which in fact are the good agents and which aren't, because that's not always so easy to do when you're just looking at your ACD data. And so we've got the unified reporting, and the recording's also one place. So a caller comes in with a repeat call, and they say, "Last time you spoke to me, you told me this," and the agent can actually go get access and drill down about when that last conversation is, and actually listen back to that conversation, and have the real information right at hand, right there in the transaction at the record, not fumbling around there. Let me dig into that for something later. So we're going to tell you more about this stuff. I want to tell you a little bit about who we are. And so Transera is part of BroadSoft, and I'll talk about BroadSoft on the next slide. But Transera has been doing this kind of business in the cloud contact center space for 12 years now. Silicon Valley-based company. We've got folks all around the world at this point in time with the merger into BroadSoft. We have a major partnership with Salesforce, and we focus on providing everything from the cloud, the complete solution we just described. So like your Salesforce solution, this comes to the cloud. And we've also incorporated extensive analytics capabilities to do some of those decision makings that I talked about earlier, like deciding which agents should handle which calls and what are the value of customers and what are the skill sets of agents and things like that. So that's an innate part of the solution. We do have a bunch of patents in this area, and you can see listed here a number of the more well-known customers that are on the platform, from American Red Cross to Office Depot to TiVo and others, and of course Slimware, and Maurice will talk about that. We are, as I mentioned, part of BroadSoft. BroadSoft has been around since actually 1999, focuses exclusively on providing cloud communications solutions. The majority of our business we do through channels, through actually telecom service provider channels. And in that space, you can see here we're the dominant player in that space. We've got over 40% market share within that space, and 26 of the top 30 telcos worldwide, and over 13 million lines deployed. The BroadSoft suite includes the contact center capabilities, part of which we're talking about here today with our Salesforce app. It also includes a complete unified communications solution can be used in the back office of an enterprise, using our contact center solution in the front office, our UC solution in the back office, as well as team collaboration capabilities, which allow everybody within the enterprise, whether in the contact center or in the back office, to collaborate on projects together, both in real time and in near real time and over time, in order to increase the overall effectiveness of the enterprise. So again, we do, as BroadSoft, bring a complete suite of communication solutions for enterprise customers. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Maurice and have him tell us a bit about how Slimware, an IAC company, is using this product.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Maurice. I'm the Salesforce Call Center Operations Manager for Slimware Utilities, an IAC company. A little bit of our company. We have Slimware Utilities that develops award-winning desktop utility products to automate solutions to the world's computer problems. We have Ask Applications that provides browser-based products and solutions to customers and businesses. And we also have Apollon, one of the leading developers of mobile applications in the world. So that's a little bit about ourselves. We decided to, we picked Transera based on our need and also based on our plan. Our plan is we added a new paid support plan to complement the online support model. We decided to outsource our agents, and our objectives were holistically view and manage contact center operations, assess agents' performance, select appropriately trained personnel, achieve high customer satisfaction, and also achieve high first call resolution. So with the Transera application itself, gave us the ability to do all this, and I'll go into a little bit more details in just a few moments. So one of the goals that we've had was we're able to have the application set up within Salesforce. We had its own app. We also have the ability to control our own routing strategies. For a fast-moving company that we are, if tomorrow we decide to launch a new marketing campaign and we want to track how that campaign is doing, we can assign numbers to be called and we can report off of it. We can decide how the calls are routed to which agents. In terms of agents' efficiency and also skill sets, we look at average handling time, which agents are successful in selling and also providing customer service. So we use those KPIs to make sure that those agents are the primary target call handlers and have an overflow for the other agents as we get them trained to be more successful at the first, the A team, I should say. The combination of everything is just pretty good. I can have a class of 30 people starting today, and I can get them all set up today. It's fast, it's easy, it's simple. We just create the teams, the sites. Everything is very easy to use. The excellence, the ease of use is great. Transera support has been phenomenal in helping us in the beginning. And beyond that, we've been very successful managing our own. So using Transera as a provider for a solution that we need, it's probably the best decision we made, simply because we eliminated the need of having additional operational staff to manage your phone routing system, setting up new people. We who handle the Salesforce, we handle everything all in one shot, and that just makes it easier for everybody. We started our campaign with 50 agents. Right now, we're at 170, and we expect to end the year around 350, maybe 400. It really depends how things go. But we've grown significantly within the first year. We're approaching our first year with this new product in August. We're already at 170. We're already increased by close to 300%, and we're going to continue to grow. We do have a sister business unit, which is part of Ask. In other areas, they also use Transera, but it's mostly for customer service calls. Their volume is much less than ours, and they chose Transera not only from standard applications to use across an organization, but also the ease of use and leveraging us to help them with the implementation along with Transera support just made the process much easier. And the costs, compared to other products out there, it was just really, Transera's seemed to be the right fit for us. Now I'm going to go ahead and pass this to Randy.
Okay, let me just take a second to transition here then. Let me see here, let me go to illustration. All right, give me a second to refresh. Take 1 second for the slide to come up here. Okay, I think everyone can see my screen. Basically, this package really has 4 main kind of functions I'm going to talk about. The first function is the ability to have the application all within App Exchange as far as getting it. So it is truly fully integrated. We're going to talk about that. You can manage the entire contact center within this application, where I'm going to show you and kind of walk you through. The scripting elements and capabilities are relatively easy to set up and to get going, very easy actually. And I actually will create a routing script for you to show you how easy that is. We'll talk a little bit about recording, and then we're going to finish with kind of the report data, CDR data, and how easy it is to use the Salesforce data as well as the new contact center data as far as building your reports and analysis. So the first thing we're going to switch to is we're going to switch over to an actual agent that's logged into the system. There's an applet that's created here. As was mentioned earlier from Steve, we can do very specific routing. We have the ability to do skills-based routing all the way down to an agent level. We can populate case information, maybe other CRM data you want to be passed through the IVR as far as that data is concerned. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to call in on an IVR script. The agent can log in through a DN number, so they can be virtually anywhere. We can have virtual agents, virtual locations, wherever they're located. So let me go ahead and log in. So the first thing it does, it tells me where I'm logged in, what team, what site I'm at. I'm going to make myself available. And I'm going to call into the IVR here. So I'm going to go into the technical support. You see immediately the screen changes. It pops up the particular record that matches the ANI. The other phone is ringing is actually my connection for the agent audio. So now we have a complete connection. The data that we're showing here is showing the IVR information, the DNS. It could be account information that maybe is passed through the IVR, case number information. If you're doing sales, everything could be managed here as far as them connecting or transferring to other agents, to other queues, to other DN numbers. We also have the ability of doing privacy on the recording, so that if you're capturing PCI information, the agent can stop it or have it automatically triggered as far as that information is concerned. So that can all be part of it. So let me just hang up here. So we have wrap-up codes. You can put in different wrap-up codes for the reporting purposes, and basically it can go to the next call. This same agent can also do an outbound call. So if you're doing outbound calling, it could feed off, and we have click-to-call capability, automatically puts the record in as far as calling that record for outbound campaigns too. Let's now switch over to the admin piece. So in administration, if you see the top, everything to manage the contact center is right here. We don't have to leave Salesforce for the entire administration. So this is where I can set up different queues, different sites, different teams. I can build all of my routing strategies right from here, the call recording, building reports, all is right from this same interface. If we're, let me jump down to routing just to show you the routing capabilities of this. So if in the routing, this is where I can build the control scripts for different routings. I can also create different resources as far as WAV files, as far as what the recordings would be on the IVR, like for hold messages and welcome to ABC company, press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish, that sort of thing. This is where you'd actually build a control script as far as the actual routing is concerned. So let me go, and we're going to build one here and show you how easy that is. So this is the actual routing script. To build one, I'm going to pull the menu over. To change any of the items within the routing, I can simply click on them. It gives me the option to change it. For this case, I'm only going to have a 2-branch script. And let's add a counter into this as far as counter information. For if they have customers having trouble and want to go multiple times as far as entering their data. So if you have a timeout or an invalid number, let's take them into a counter that counts how many times they've done it. If it's no, I'm going to take them back into the IVR script. Then we need to take these calls to a queue. So I'm going to pull over the queue buttons, queue icons. From here, I'm going to route this to this queue. Press 1 goes to this queue, and press 2 is going to go to this queue. Then I simply assign where that queue goes. So I can go up here and pull up where I want to assign them. Maybe this one I want to go to support. This one I want to go to another sales queue. So in that 3 easy steps, 5 easy steps was pretty quick. We built our first IVR script. It's really that easy. So very user-friendly tool. If you used other IVR and routing tools, sometimes you have to be a DBA application engineer to even build these kind of things. It could also get more complicated. I could add in fetch variables to go out and collect data from other locations, bring that back into the script. I can also collect digits, collect data, pull that into it. So it can become very sophisticated as well, maybe not as easy and as simple as this particular script was. As mentioned earlier, it has complete call recording, so I could build schedules as far as call recording. It could be call recording 100%. However you want to do the recording, you can set the schedule for the month, the year, how you'd like that to work. It has built-in a voice recording capability as far as searching on that data. So this can become pretty sophisticated as far as how you may want to search on specific data. I could divide it down by queues, different sites, teams, agents, maybe specific wrap codes, DNIS or ANI. I can collect where I want to go as far as how back I want to look as far as the data elements are concerned and pulling that in. I have different CAD variables, which basically custom variables that you may want to have as far as looking up very specific data. You search on it, it pulls up the records, and you can play it and listen to it right here, right, all within the same tool. Some of the reporting options it has built in, it already has call data records as far as looking through all the different call records, session information, DNIS information, what you might want to see from that perspective, all of that data. Also can have agent activity records built in and look at that data as well as far as going and pulling that data and looking at it. Now let's switch over to the reporting engine within Salesforce. So let's say I want to build some reports in Salesforce. I might want to match this up to other CRM data that's in the platform. So if you're doing, let's say, you're a inbound customer service, you're working with cases. So what I can do is I can go in, I'm going to hit a customization. I can join these tables. So I've joined tables from the actual call records that I got out of the contact center with the cases. So I can go and look at those cases, merge that data together through a join. Being that data is here, this is all the call data records at the top and the case data at the bottom. I can then drag and drop any of that information if I want to change any of that information or change the case information or the call record information, using the tools within Salesforce. I can build these new historical reports. Let me close that. And let's go to now. Let's say you're an outbound, making outbound sales calls. You can go and marry that up with your lead information. So maybe your lead accounts, you want to marry the data as far as the call data records, with the actual leads and what happened. That same thing, I can go in and customize these reports, join those data elements from the call center to the records that's in the CRM data. So you're using the tools within Salesforce, as well as having the complete capability that we mentioned here as far as using the admin capability within the product itself. That's what I had for the demo for today. If I'd like to turn this back to the presenter.
All right. Thank you, Randy, for that. What I wanted to do was talk to you a little bit about where to get more information on the solution, and then we're going to open it up for question and answers and discussion. So the Transera solution is available through the Salesforce App Exchange, as Randy mentioned, so you can actually go there and download the app and do a free trial. We've got a wealth of information on our website, white papers. We've got some case studies on how other customers have also used the analytics capabilities in the platform to improve their customer performance and improve their profitability, improve their first call resolution. So you can go learn about that. You can watch some videos to get more depth on different aspects of the product as well. And certainly you can contact us. You can contact us on the phone or send us an email. We will set up an appointment to discuss your personal environment, what your needs are, and give you a demo customized to your particular needs. So please do reach out to us. With that, I'm going to turn it back to David and have him open the floor for Q&A.
All right, great. Thank you, gentlemen, Steve, Maurice, for your presentations, and Randy for your demo. All well done. Yes, I do have a few questions that I'd like to start off with, but before I do, I'd just like to encourage those who are viewing the event to submit any questions you might have in the question box provided and click on the submit button. We'll try to answer as many questions on the live call as we can, but if we're not able to answer all of them, you will receive an email response to it within a few days. All right, so let's start off with a question for Maurice. Maurice, can you talk more about your experience providing your own contact center technology with outsourced agents?
Yes, excellent question. My personal experience, with technology and deploying an outsourced call center. This is my third time doing this. My previous experience required me to set up 2 call centers, outsourced call centers, one in Canada and one in India. So I'm lucky enough to have the experience and the background in this industry. So when I was hired by Slimware Utilities, that was half of the battle that they had to deal with. They already had somebody coming in with the experience that they needed. Salesforce, by far the best tool I've used. I've been using Salesforce for 15 years now. And Transera is actually the new tool that I got introduced to by working for Slimware. and it really facilitated my life from an implementation standpoint. I was able to manage the end-to-end Salesforce implementation, and with Transera's assistance, they did all of the integration of our telephony needs and reporting and everything. They did everything themselves, and I don't think that without that, I don't think we could have gone live on time. So personally, that was a good thing for me, and it was really outstanding service and delivery. And everything overall is working really, really well. So I hope that answers your question.
Sure. There's another one for you, Maurice. How have you used the system to improve profitability of your business?
Well, that's where we decided to have agents based on skill set. One of the challenges that we saw when we launched was that, our customers are speaking to an offshore agent who is halfway around the world. So one of the key things that we focus on to ensure profitability is, number one, communication and comprehension skills, average handling time, and the ability to close deals. And that gives us a way to distinguish who's team A, B, C, or D. And when we strategize our routing and how calls are answered, that's how we set up the groups to be. So this way we make sure the top people are always making sure they always get the calls first. And everybody else will be like the overflow. But today we're actually taking close to 700 daily calls. So it's like a pretty even match, so everybody gets a piece of the pie kind of thing. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Next question. This one is for Steve. Does the real-time reporting pop into the Salesforce dashboard?
Yeah, it does. And actually, I'll let Randy kind of talk more about the overall report. We showed you the historical reporting integration. We didn't talk so much about the real-time reporting integration. So I'll let Randy speak more depth about that.
Yes, so we can actually do that. In fact, within the dashboard tool within Salesforce, you can build your own dashboards. I was going to show that briefly, but I forgot that. But basically, we can do that, and as well as the real-time report tool that's in the application that I was showing you earlier, you can create those on the fly as well. So there's two places that you can do that.
Yeah, the general design is to, the entire basically experience is inside of Salesforce for the supervisors as well. So the supervisors can go in and monitor agents. They can view all the reports, the real-time status, as well as the historical status, make changes to the configuration, reassign people to teams, etc., all from within the app.
All right, thanks. Another question for you, Steve. How can your product help organizations monitor their agents?
Sure. So one of the nice things about having a cloud-based solution is that all the agents, no matter where they are logged into one virtual system. So you can have, as Maurice has, agents overseas who are being monitored by folks locally in that office, but also can be monitored and quality checked in real time by folks back at their headquarters in New York. So you've basically got the ability to monitor any agent anywhere in the world. And not just that, but it really doesn't matter what device that they're handling the calls on. We don't provide a proprietary telephone as part of the system. We can route the call to any phone number. So that could be an agent sitting at home. It could be an agent sitting behind a premises-based PBX with a bunch of extensions hanging off of it. It could even be an agent using their mobile phone, perhaps as a backup because the landline went out. We've had people do things like as an emergency case, when the call center has been closed because of some natural disaster or something, people log in from home. all the capabilities that the supervisor has to manage and monitor those agents is the same, regardless of whether they're sitting across the room from them or across the ocean from them.
Speaking of which, Maurice, what information does your organization use to rate agent skills?
We, I believe that was like similar to a previous question, but what we do to evaluate agents, communication comprehension skills, average handling time, and also the ability to close deals. That's how we set. That's our KPI to set agent skill set in a phone system. So I hope that really answers the question.
All right. And Steve, how much can a screen pop shorten a call?
So a lot depends on the particular environment, but it could be anywhere from 20 seconds up to even a full minute. So kind of a standard screen pop would be versus a manual process would be caller calls in and says, I got this problem. The customers then ask, well, what's your customer ID or what's your phone number? And then it's typed in. The agent brings it up, and obviously that's a fairly common use case to automate, so that you use the telephone number that came in with the call, and you automatically bring up the record if it's there. But we can go deeper than that. So we can do things like if the customer has an open case in the CRM, then we automatically bring in that open case. Or if the customer is coming to us through the phone, or even if they're coming us over the web, pop up a question that says, do you have an open case with us? Do you know your case number? Enter your case number now. Or if it's about a particular product, what product are you calling about? So when they enter that information, when the screen pop comes, we can be deeper on two fronts. One, we can pop up not just the customer record, but we can actually pop up the open case for that customer. We can also pop up the interaction history. So if that customer called the week before and chatted the week before and emailed the week before that, we can present all that context to the agent. And in addition to that, if the caller is calling on a specific issue, a specific product we know about, we can pop up a knowledge base article or FAQs for the agent based on that. So, when you measure screen pop, often people will say, you can save 20 or 30 seconds, just look up the customer record. But actually, if you're presenting this deeper level of context, be it the case information and the FAQ information, you can actually shave a minute or more off of the call.
So you're saying that you could actually route based on data stored in Salesforce?
Yeah, exactly. So you can when you're making that decision, it's a combination of data in Salesforce and data you're prompting the user for. So you could do different things depending on what your business is like, right? You could go in and just not ask information up front to the user, but just go based on the customer's history in Salesforce, pull up the relevant information. And like I said, if they have one open case, they're probably calling about that, and you pop up that case to the agent when they're calling in. And you can also do things, as Maurice's company does, route based on value of the agent, right? So you can look at the customers who are the best customers and route them to the best agents. So you make sure that you're kind of maximizing the profitability of the company by using the context information that's available in Salesforce. And
is Chainsera integrated, or can it be integrated into social media
apps? Yeah, for sure. So that's one of the capabilities we have, is to provide the ability to monitor what's happening on social media. Those tweets or what have you get routed into the agent's respond to them, and they're all presented in the same kind of user experience that they have for other systems. In Salesforce, we have some native capabilities in Transera to handle social. Also, like many CRMs, they have some of these multi-channel capabilities themselves. So Salesforce has a very robust social capability as well. So it's really up to the customers to sort the best strategy for them in terms of handling these.
All right. And can Transera be hooked into any other legacy system other than Salesforce?
Yeah. So obviously the product. Well, I guess I'll answer that two different ways. So first, let me answer it just for the Salesforce product. If you're talking about kind of legacy systems, maybe it's not just CRMs, but other type of systems. I'm looking at the question here. We can integrate with third-party PBXs, ACDs. We can also integrate data from other systems that the enterprise might use to store data beyond Salesforce. So there may be some data that is in some other internal business system. We can pull in that information into the IVR to make routing decisions, and we can also pull it into the analytics to figure out optimal agent performances as well as customer value and customer characteristics and propensities. And then in terms of integrating with other CRM systems, we don't have the same administrative type of integration that we've talked about today in reporting and everything with other CRMs, but we do have integrations for the agent screen pop with other CRM systems and and the kind of IVR level integration as well. So we can present a unified agent experience across multiple CRM systems, but the only CRM where we provide not just the agent integration, but the overall supervisor and administrative and management integration as a full package inside the CRM is with Salesforce today.
All right, great. Thanks for that. It looks like those are all the questions we have today. I'd like to thank everyone who submitted them, and also thanks to our speakers today, Steve Case, Vice President of Product Marketing and Alliances at Transera, and Maurice Lopes, who's a Salesforce Call Center Operations Manager at Slimware Utilities, an IAC company, and Randall Parker, Sales Engineer at Transera. If you would like a copy of the presentation, you can download it once the event is archived. And if you'd like to review this event or send it to a colleague, please use the same web address that you used for today's event. It will be archived for 90 days. Plus, as a courtesy, you'll receive an email once the archive is posted. And just for participating in today's event, you can win this Google Chromecast. The winner will be posted on destinationcrm.com on June 30th. Please visit our website to see if you're the winner. This concludes our broadcast. Thank you for joining us.